Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session this afternoon entitled Navigating the
Oh
Digital
yeah, I need to
Classroom.
find that. Okay, I'm gonna have to look for that at call and get.
All right, again, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. Please make sure your mics are on mute once you come in the meeting room. But again, good afternoon, and welcome to our afternoon session entitled Navigating the Digital Classroom, Strategies for Success in Online Learning Environments. Today, we have the pleasure of having Ms. Ariel Owens. She is the Director of Athletics Academic Services at Grambling State University. So I will turn it over to her. At the end, she will allow time to answer for you all to ask questions, do a Q&A session. But until then, enjoy Miss Ariel. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kenyatta. Again, like Kenyatta said, we are going to talk about navigating the digital classroom today and strategies for success in online learning environments. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I won't be before you guys long at all. Today on the agenda, I'm going to do a brief introduction about myself. We're going to talk about the rise of online learning, understanding the digital classroom, key components of successful online learning, strategies for success, and tips for building a support system. As Kenyatta said, my name is Ariel Owens. I am the Director of Athletics Academic Services at Grambling State University. I am also an online learner. I'm currently pursuing my doctoral in educational leadership with an emphasis in student development. Previously, before my current role, I was the Assistant Director of Career Advising at LSU Shreveport, which is a satellite university of LSU A&M. I was a former women's basketball coach as well as a former women's basketball athlete. To get started, we're going to go ahead and talk about the rise of online learning. And I have just a short poll for us to do really quick. If you want to go ahead and pull out your phones, you can scan this QR code here. And the question that I have for you all is, what do you believe is the key to fostering supportive learning environments in online settings? And I'm gonna give you all a few minutes to scan the QR code, and then we're going to take a look at the poll to see those results. All right, so far we have creating opportunities for social interaction and community building with 50%, providing timely feedback and support with 25%, and encouraging active participation and collaboration also with 25%. Okay, I'm gonna give everyone about 2 to 3 more minutes to participate in the poll for those that are logging in. Encouraging active participation and collaboration has went up to 40%, tied with creating opportunities for social interaction and community building. Having resources offered by the university is now at 17%, providing timely feedback and support, 17%. Oh, looks like somebody changed their answer. All right, so we have creating opportunities for social interaction and community building with a whopping 50%. So we're just going to go ahead and move forward, and we're going to discuss the growth of online learning. So some stats that I found on Forbes.com says that online colleges and universities enroll nearly 1.1 million students, which is about 6% of all US post-secondary learners, right? Since COVID, we've noticed there's been an uptick in online learning. Before, we wasn't quite sure how everything was going to kind of pan out with transitioning so fast due to the pandemic, but now it is easily accessible for those who want to continue to learn at their own pace, at their own time, depending on if it's self-paced or depending on if it's pretty much structured, just, kind of like the face-to-face interactions that they would have at the university. The rise of online education has been a significant phenomenon that has now have reshape the landscape of learning and the education worldwide. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a few key factors that have contributed to its growth. The first one being advancements in technology. Okay, so with the availability of high-speed internet, tied in with a bunch of multimedia tools, the LMS systems that we continue to use today, such as Blackboard, Moodle, even the simple access to Zoom, being able to have this interaction that we're having now, has kind of helped to make online learning easily accessible for those that's probably across the globe, aka our international students, or even making it easily accessible for busy parents, which are like our non-traditional learners. Next, accessibility. Online education now breaks down barriers to learning by making education accessible to a broader audience. Again, instead of having to see how you're going to get to campus or how you're going to be able to meet that professor, you can do so from the comfort of your home, from the comfort of your dorm, from your room, from your office, easily accessible and made specifically for those who, may have a disability, individuals with busy schedules, or people that, again, may not be in the same vicinity, same state or city as their institution that they're enrolled in. Next is cost-friendly. Online education often costs less than traditional on-campus programs, so students can save expenses on commuting, housing, textbooks, and additionally, many online courses are offered at a lower tuition rate compared to their on-campus counterparts. Next is flexibility. With flexibility, again, students can learn at their own pace and on their own schedule, allowing them to balance their education with work, family, or other commitments that may be outside of those things mentioned before. Diverse learning formats. Online education now offers a variety of learning formats, including asynchronous courses, synchronous live sessions, hybrid models, and self-paced modules. So this type of diversity allows students to choose the format that best fits their learning style and their preferences. Last but not least, the globalization of education. Online education has facilitated the globalization of education by connecting students and educators from around the globe. I think that this is such an amazing advantage of online learning, because you get to learn more about, different countries, different areas, different students, and it helps to bring diversity and inclusion, and kind of, keep us all connected. We're going to go ahead and dive into understanding the digital classroom. So how better can we understand it without, defining it and knowing exactly what it is? A digital classroom is a classroom that is fully immersed in technology. Are you surprised by that definition? The word digital classroom is self-explanatory of basically defining itself. So there are a few challenges that may arise. Tech issues may come up. When your Wi-Fi stops working, we get mad, right? We go crazy trying to figure out why isn't it working at the time that we need to log into class, right? You may find that cheating may be a thing with ChatGPT out, all the AIs. As this comic says, your term paper on the growing problem of plagiarism in society is very eye-opening, especially being that they've seen it 3 times. Last but not least, distractions. It is easy for us to get distracted when we're in an online setting, but there are ways that we can avoid these issues that may arise when we are either on the professor end of it or we are on the student end of the online learning platform. Some key components of successful online learning include, again, flexibility, the ability to learn anytime, anywhere. We must remain self-disciplined, managing our time effectively and staying motivated. Communication. It is very important to maintain clear and concise communication between instructors and peers. And technology proficiency, mastering the tools and the platforms. My favorite quote is that communication eliminates confusion. If we as instructors or as peers do not communicate that we may have any questions or that we may be struggling with, certain LMS systems, or maybe my Zoom link isn't working, then how are the instructor or our peers supposed to know that we're struggling? So we have to make sure to communicate those issues that may arise. And it's not embarrassing. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. Like, I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10 that there's someone else going through that same issue with you. They're just not speaking about it as well. Strategies for success. Stephen Covey says that time management is a misnomer. The challenge is to manage ourselves. Okay, we can start managing ourselves and our time by, number one, setting a schedule and sticking with it. Utilizing time management apps and tools such as the Eisenhower Decision Matrix, which is something that we'll talk about in the next slide. Trello, Evernote, any Apple or Android built-in apps, or even Notion, okay? And sometimes creating a dedicated study space, such as utilizing the campus library, the community library, or a space within your room or dorm, will help to kind of allow you to carve out that time that is needed to either study for a test, prepare to log into class, make sure all of your technology is working, things of that sort. So for the next 10 minutes, we're going to do what I call the time management challenge, okay? Number one, we're going to start out by writing out our daily schedules. Number two, we're going to identify potential time management issues such as overlaps, insufficient times or excessive leisure times. And then we're going to reflect and ask ourselves, are there any adjustments that need to be made? Or does my schedule reflect a healthy balance that also incorporates personal time and self-care? I don't know how many of you have kids, or you have a family, or you're married like myself, but I try my best to prioritize self-care through the busy time constraints of work, school, and other outside extracurricular activities. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10 minutes on my timer. And we're just going to take a few minutes to just kind of see where is all of our time being spent. And then I like to discuss. So I'm going to pick 2 people to discuss, or you can raise your hand. That's perfectly fine also. Has anyone finished their daily schedule? I know it's only been 2 minutes, but if you have finished your daily schedule, please feel free to let us know in the chat box, or you can raise your hand or unmute your mic so that we can kind of discuss if you can see kind of a healthy balance in your daily routine? Got about 8 minutes left, but we're going to go ahead and shorten it till about a total of 5 minutes. So you have about 3 minutes left to complete this activity. (2 minutes). Would anyone like to share? Got a minute and a half left. (1 minute). Natasha, that is a great idea. That also helps me as well. Natasha said the biggest help for her is that through her work outlook is color coding meetings into categories. Natasha, I use the same for my Google Calendar with activities between both of my girls, family outings that me and my husband try to do to maintain, the family balance with my job and, trying to run a business and school and things. I definitely use the color codes to let me know like what is what on my calendar. Because if I don't have the color codes, I can't tell what's my next event or like what's my next duty that I have to do or who it's for. So it's a great idea.
Same. I use Gmail for my personal calendar. So for those events, I color code too. And I know some folks may not know what life was like before social media with remembering birthdays, but birthdays are color coded too. And then special events. And another thing that helps me with my work calendar and Outlook, I use the work week view. So that way I can look at it at a glance. So I'll know, okay, how many I have direct reports. So how many, meetings with my direct reports I have. So because those meetings are color coded, I know what I have throughout the week. And then any meetings that are leadership related, how many do I have throughout the week and what meetings are potentially flexible if something urgent comes up that I can move and then, organize it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I don't honestly, without the color codes, I don't know how I made it through life before. Matter of fact, I can tell you how I was double booking myself for a lot of things. So I love the calendars. I love how now you can make all of your calendars kind of go together where you can share your work calendar with your family calendar so that those can kind of be all in one place. I love all of that. James said Microsoft Office has the To-Do app and the Calendar app both installed on his phone. He lives by those and he couldn't survive without them. James, I have a friend that swears by the To-Do app and the Calendar app, so I definitely get it. Nicole says she feels like she balances her time well. However, as an academic coach, helping students balance their time is a big part of what she does. So those skills have carried over to home. She has a to-do list set up on her desktop background and used the Stickies app to organize tasks as well. That is awesome, Nicole. Kudos to you. Awesome. I love it. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Thank you guys for those who participated and engaged. I hope that others have found, some tips and tricks that they can use as well. So this right here that we see on the screen is the Eisenhower decision matrix. This time management technique was made by our 34th president, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and he made it kind of when he was developing the concept to help him prioritize and deal with several high-stake issues that he faced as a U.S. Army general, the Supreme Allied Commander of the NATO forces, and as the President of the United States. So this matrix was designed as a way to organize tasks by urgency and importance so that we all can effectively prioritize our most important work. The Eisenhower decision matrix did not really become relevant until Stephen Covey mentioned it in one of his books. I don't want to quote the wrong book, so just know that he helped to continue to make this matrix very popular when it comes to time management techniques. So now we're going to talk about engagement and participation. One way to actively engage and participate, like we did just now, is actively participating in discussions and activities and collaborating with peers through group projects and forums. This not only helps to foster a conducive learning environment, but it also helps our students and also our instructors feel included. With us being in such a virtual setting, we want to make sure that we don't feel disconnected from our peers. So collaborating with your groups, with your peers, your classmates, or your colleagues through group projects and forums really helps to foster that online community that we would hope for in classes or in seminars or presentations like this one and the ones that you've seen here today. I have another question for you guys. How do you prefer to engage in online discussions? And again, you can scan the QR code. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to scan the QR code, and then we're going to take a look at the results to see what everyone has to say. All right, let's see if we have some results rolling in. Not yet. I'm going to give you guys a few more seconds to scan the QR code here. How do you prefer to engage in online discussions? How do you prefer to engage in online discussions? Let's see. Oh, excuse me. All right, 75%, 80% says live chat sessions. I love a good live chat. I do. 20% text-based forums. Okay. So the winner for this poll looks like it's going to be live chat sessions with 83%. No one likes video conferences. I get it. Text-based. All right, live chat sessions. Nice, thank you all. So we're about to dive into effective communication. As you can see on this screen, this is a poorly written communication, an email going from a student to a professor. And he says, "What's up, prof? So I don't know if I can make it to the final because I ate some bad Mexican and can't get off the toilet, LOL. Can I reschedule? Hit me back, Dougie." Now, is that the correct way to send an email to your professor? Or if you're an instructor, would this be the route that you would take to, reach out to a colleague about a meeting that you should have had after lunch? Absolutely not is right. So let's talk about some ways to be effective in our communication. First, we want to make sure that we utilize clear and concise communication in written and verbal interactions. Again, seeking clarification when needed, spell checking for sure, but number one, remaining professional, okay? When you effectively communicate with your peers or with your colleagues, it helps to provide a platform for sharing insights and learning from some of their experiences. You're able to communicate effectively. They know that if they need anything, they can, they can kind of understand what you're asking for and give you the exact answer that you're looking for. And then it also encourages us to make sure that we're proofreading our emails, making sure that there's no tone behind those verbal or written communications, right? We don't want anyone feeling like we have an attitude coming across in the email. We don't want anyone feeling like we're being snarly with them. Clear and concise communication and remaining professional and will help to create effective communication. Okay, so with this effective communication reflection, we're just going to take not 10 minutes, but we're just going to take 5 minutes, okay, and ask ourselves these questions. How do you typically communicate with instructors and your peers? Number 2, what challenges do you encounter when communicating in virtual environments? How do you ensure clarity and understanding in written communication, for example, emails, discussion posts, text messages, etc.? And what strategies would you use to express yourself effectively in online settings? I'm just going to take a little time to think about that to ourselves and just reflect on how you communicate. Do you feel that you communicate well? Do you feel that there are some areas of or like opportunities where you could get better when it comes to communicating? Or do you feel like you're very much thorough in your emails in providing clarity and providing understanding for those when communicating? And if so, if you feel that you are pretty good at virtual communication, let us know what strategies you use so that we can kind of put those in our back pocket as well. You never know who's out there that may kind of question themselves or not so confident in their email communication. So if you have any pointers, tricks or tips that you may want to tell everyone, please share away. You never know who may need that help. I know for me personally, when I am typing emails to my colleagues or to professors, I just try my best to read over it about 3-4 times. I try to make sure that I go back to their previous email. If they had asked for certain things in the email, I want to make sure that I'm providing clear, concise communication, that I'm making sure that I'm giving them exactly what they're asking for, nothing more, nothing less. And then at the end, I always sign off with, let me know if you have any other questions or if you need more clarity or anything for that matter. I've also found out that effective communication has also helped me to foster great relationships with a lot of the professors on our campus, as well as other department heads. So again, you just never know what effective communication can do for you in the long run. Natasha, I really love what you typed here in the chat, listening to respond versus listening to understand, and reinstating and asking follow-up questions. I believe that those two are like the top 5 of effective communication. Because sometimes we listen to respond without actually understanding what the person is saying. And just because we may say it one way doesn't necessarily mean that they're going opposite of us. They may just be comprehending it a different way than what we are saying. So we want to make sure that we're listening to understand, that we have comprehended their message, like Natasha said. And then if you need to, schedule that follow-up so that you guys can go back over and rehash those things that may have kind of had blurred lines there. Okay. All right. And we're almost done, guys. We're almost near the end here. So one of the last things that I want to talk about is tips for building a support system. Like I said just a while ago, sometimes, or since I've started this role that I'm in now, the type of communication that I send across departments when I'm trying to collaborate, or maybe I need help with a student from a professor, has helped me to foster some really great relationships on campus at Grambling State. So here are a few tips for our students, somewhat for our instructors, on how to build a support system. Now, if we could remember that we're all in this together, that would be absolutely great, okay? It's not me versus you, it's us versus the problem. So, identifying the resources that are available to our students, and also non-traditional students, or our online students, is going through the Student Success Center or your academic center. You can reach out to your campus library or even your local library, who may have resources as well. I have found that online tutoring services have been a great help to previous students that I've worked with before, as well as current students. Some of those online tutoring services include Peer Deck Tutoring, which is formerly known as Tutor Me, Varsity Tutors, and Wiset. They have you may have virtual study groups through your online program, or you can find more time management resources and things of that sort through your local or your own campus counseling and wellness center. Again, since COVID, since the pandemic happened, we kind of see that you can now have counseling and wellness from the comfort of your home, from your phone, through an app, through a Zoom session with the counselor on your campus, or scheduling an academic meeting with your student success coordinator or your student success advisor. So I told you guys that we were almost done. I wasn't going to be before you long. Does anyone have any questions? Let me give us about 5 minutes, see if anyone have any questions. You can type them in the chat, or you can unmute your mic. It looks like no one has any questions. So again, my name is Ariel Owens. Thank you so much for tuning in on navigating the digital classroom with me today. If you want to scan the QR code, if you would like this presentation emailed to you, you can scan the QR code. You can send me an email, add me on LinkedIn, let's get connected, and just create that community, that fostering community, to help one another in this online platform as we continue to change lives of the students that we have today. Thank you.
Ariel, thank you so much, and thank the participants for participating today. We really, really appreciate you all for your participation. And Ariel, thank you so much for sharing that information with us. So I'm going to pull up the link if you all could rate our session for us. And then after that, thank you so much. And I hope you participate in some additional sessions that we have this afternoon. Again, thank you all so much for participating.
Nice job, Ariel.
Thank you. Thank you all.